Hello and welcome back to the Trainers of the World Tournament. I'm your host, DeltaTDS, and today we've got another gym leader face-off. We've got the Johto gym leader Clair going up against the Galar gym leader Nessa. We've seen Nessa in round 1 just trash on Grant, so now she's back for yet another match. This time, probably going to be a bit more of a challenge. But Claire's running the Mega Salamence, as Nessa, as we've seen, has that Gigantamax Dreadnought. Once these trainers are ready, we can begin Game 1 of Match 75. Clair leading off with that Charizard as Nessa leads with that Golisopod. Golisopod, a very good starting Pokemon. First impression might not do as much as she wants to that Charizard. Charizard going for the Thunder Punch, dealing almost 40% as knockoff deals nearly just 70% to that Charizard, taking off its expert belt. Aqua Jet does finish off that Charizard, and Emergency Exit will activate on this Golisopod. Nessa switching in the Pelipper with Drizzle, as Clair will switch into Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl, a fast Pokemon, of course they're never going to give it Brave Bird for whatever reason. Nessa switching out to the Quagsire to take that Thunder Fang and just take nothing from it. Clair switching into that Gyarados as Quagsire goes for that Toxic, putting Gyarados on a 6-turn timer, basically. Unless it's got a recovery move, but I don't think it does. Power Whip gonna do 32% to that Golisopod. Very risky move to use unless you've got the wide lens. It's less risky. Still is risky, but not as much. Switching out to the Aerodactyl, as first impression is going to deal over half to Aerodactyl, even with it not being very effective. Golisopod does faint due to its Life Orb. It is currently at 5v5 right now, 3 turns of rain left, as Nessa sends in that Toxapex here. Fateful Bunker, going to protect it from the Earthquake. But another Earthquake will take it down to almost half as Liquidation finishes off that Aerodactyl. We're gonna need something very strong to take out this Kingdra. Kingdra predicting that and setting up the Dragon Dance. Going for Waterfall, dealing about 20%. As Toxapex goes for Poison Jab and does get the poison on Kingdra. Outrage going to finish off that Toxapex though. Kingdra's got at most 4 turns left, thanks to that poison. Again, unless it has a recovery move, but I don't believe it does. It is currently 4 on 4 right now. Both trainers still have their gimmicks in the back. Nessa is sending out that Quagsire here. Outrage gonna deal just under 40% to that Quagsire as it recovers and heals all of it back up. Kingdra confused, not sure what's going on. Nessa switching out to Pelipper as Kingdra goes for Rest to heal itself all the way back up. Resto Chesto, a classic among competitive Pokemon. Switching out into the Salamence here, as Salamence will take that Hurricane for just about 45% of damage. It'll be able to live 2 more. Salamence going for Body Slam, not getting the Paralysis though, as another Hurricane it brings it down to 17%. Going for a second Body Slam, but does fall to that Hurricane. Clair switching into that Garchomp. Very strong Pokemon, very strong physical attacker. Earthquake's gonna deal about 38% to that Quagsire. Not too much. It could definitely be more, but could also be less. So, Garchomp go for Dragon Claw, getting another 30 in. As Quagsire goes for Toxic and puts that Garchomp also on a timer. Switching out to the Gyarados, getting a Intimidate in as Quagsire goes for Recover, and with that leftovers is fully healed up. Power Whip will take out the Quagsire though. Switching in that Pelipper here. Waterfall will take out the Pelipper, as Nessa is left with 2 Pokemon. Barraskewda and that Dreadnought. Switching into the Garchomp, Flip Turn is going to deal over 3/4 to Garchomp as she switches out to that Dreadnought. This Garchomp has this turn left and then it is gone. Getting one final Earthquake in before G-Max Stone Surge does take out that Garchomp. Gyarados being sent out here, getting hurt by the Stealth Rocks, but dropping that Dreadnaught's attack. Power Whip is going to finish off that Dreadnought, and it's all down to Barraskewda. Close combat will take out the Gyarados, and it's now down to 1v1, Kingdra versus Barraskewda. If Barraskewda can't take out Kingdra here, it's most likely over for it. Going for the close combat, lives on 9%, and Waterfall will take out the Barraskewda. Clair takes game number 1 on just 9% of health left. Quite a very close game 1. We saw both gimmicks. We saw the G-Max Dreadnought setting up the Stealth Rocks. We saw Mega Salamence with the Body Slam. I don't think there were any Pokemon we didn't see much from. Like, every Pokemon had a chance to fight. But we are back on the field for game number 2. Once these trainers are ready, we can begin the second game of the match and see if Nessa can take game 2 and bring this to a game 3, or if Clair will move on to round 3 with a 2-0 lead. Nessa leading off with the Dreadnought as Gyarados is leading off for Clair. We saw Gyarados have the Power Whip, which is an unusual move. Very strong, but a very risky move to use. Power Whip is going to deal 38% to that Toxapex. The Black Sludge will heal it up to just about 70%. Getting the poison off on that Garchomp. Going for Baneful Bunker to protect itself from that Dragon Claw. But Earthquake will take out that Toxapex. Garchomp is sitting at less than a 50% health. Melisabot being sent out here. First impression does take out the Garchomp, but that Rough Skin will get just a little bit of damage off on it before it falls. Both trainers are down 1 Pokemon. Clair sending in the Charizard. Interesting choice against the Gliscopod, though I do remember seeing a Thunder Punch on this thing. Aqua Jet gonna deal over 3/4 to that Charizard, as Flare Blitz deals almost 60% to it, but the recoil does take out Charizard. Emergency exit, switching out to Pelipper as Clair sends out that Salamence to get an Intimidate off. Not going to do much to Pelipper, but going to Mega Evolve and Body Slam doing 44%. Still no paralysis. Going for another Body Slam, yet another No paralysis. Pelipper probably hoping for the Scald. Switching out to the Golisopod as Body Slam finishes off the Golisopod. Switching out to the Dreadnought here. Going to Dynamax that Dreadnought, and Salamence is going to go for Earthquake, dealing 40%, and G-Max Stone Surge is going to deal 42% as well. Player's side does have these Stealth Rocks now set up. Earthquake with a crit going to take out that Dreadnought. Very, very lucky crit for Clair here, as Nessa is left with 3 Pokemon. Sending out the Quagsire. Body Slam is going to deal 43%. Still no paralysis, as Liquidation finishes off that Salamence. And Clair sends in that Quagsire, or Gyarados. Switching in to the Pelipper. Power Whip does unfortunately miss. And Waterfall will take out that Pelipper. No more rain for the rest of the match. Barraskewda being sent out here. I believe we saw this thing was choice banded. Going for the close combat, going to deal 40%, as a Power Whip does take out the Barraskewda. It's all down to Quagsire. Yeah, and he can't do anything. Power Whip takes it out, and Clair moving on to round 3 with a 2-0 victory. This match was much more in her favor. This game was much more in her favor than game 1. But she will be going on to round 3, where she will be facing off against, going up against the Alolan Elite Four Mullane. Join us Monday, where we will be seeing the Pokemon trainer Gladion going up against the Galar champion Leon. Thank you so much for watching, and until then, take care.